Okay, it's October the 16th, on Monday. We're going to go ahead and get a couple of questions that were submitted on the message board and Blackboard. So we're going to go ahead and take care of those for you guys and make sure that all of y'all get in the same page as far as what's required for this upcoming lab assignment. Not necessarily a lab, it's a skill. I'm sorry, it's a three-part series of a video slash wireframe slash list that I want you guys to create for your upcoming project. This is for your final project, the ones that you discuss on the first couple of weeks on your first flip on your second Flipgrid. You introduce your topic, so we're going to go ahead and elaborate a little bit further on that. As a web programmer, as a web designer, there are a few steps that help in the designing and the creation uh, prior to even any of the coding, and it's called wireframing. So we're going to go ahead and just give you a quick rundown, and I'll set the couple of links of tutorials that'll help you create your wireframes so you can complete the assignments. And not only complete this upcoming week's assignment, but you'll be able to use those tools for actually creating your web project or web design project. So I have used these from this link here, skillcrush.com, and we're going to talk about wireframing for just a bit, just to conform to the question that was received via Blackboard. A wireframe is a preliminary blueprint. It's a layout of what your page is going to be about. In your topics, I heard some people discuss that they wanted to create a blog or they wanted to create a store. So we're going to dissect the web page in its entirety, and we're going to separate and we're going to list a few things that are going to be on that website, but we're going to elaborate on those on individually. And then on top of that, since any and all the topics created in your website are going to be mostly pages, the pay if you're going to create a menu bar or a navigation bar on the top end, those links are going to lead you somewhere along within that web page. So a wireframe creates those little connections of what's going to happen when you click on a particular button or click on a link, and it'll take you to a different place within the website. So just real brief, I'll go over this, and there's a couple of other really neat videos on YouTube. Won't take up too much of your time during this, but I am attempting to collect and answer those questions that were actually submitted on on Blackboard for you guys. So yes, it's a wireframe is a skeletal representation of website's content. And it's going to be a visual guide so that you can start imagining how things are going to be laid out in your web page. So first and foremost, we're kind of going to end up working with your home page. So yes, above all else, your home page is going to be having your navigation, is going to be having your header section, your body, and your footer, and of course, uh, relevant information from your website. I'm going to want you guys to actually write it out. So, part of the wireframing is the design of how you're going to want your home page, and then how you're going to want each of every other page that's going to be set within those links, or where um, or where it's going to have you traverse into, let's say, a shopping cart. You're going to have a link that takes you to the inventory. So that next page is going to show you all the stuff that's going to be in there. So I want you to start designing, create a skeletal representation of what it's going to look like. So I've heard, or I saw if you had questions regarding if there's a particular template to use. There's many of them online. You will run into a lot of them that say they're gonna be free, but they're not. So this is the reason that I'm asking if you happen to not have what's called a Visio through Microsoft. You can also use pen and paper or a marker and paper, and just draw out your first page. What's going to be in the top, what's going to be in the middle, what's going to be in the bottom, what's going to be in your navigation bar, and then how that one's going to go into the next page. And then from there so forth, and you can have a shopping cart, inventory, and then your cart, and then your when you order, and where you pay, and where you get the confirmation at the end. So all of those, it's the representations in by drawing them out. They're gonna be like the windows as you navigate through a web page. So we talked about how what was wireframing and why it's important. Um, is because exactly this here. You wouldn't build a house without creating a blueprint. So this is exactly what it is. We're creating a blueprint to where you can be able to follow, and it'll be a lot easier than to make up everything on the top of your head while you're doing the coding. It's not very I wouldn't recommend it as a developer to figure stuff out off the top of your head, on top of the fact that you can possibly be focusing more on the actual coding when it comes to time. So um, it's very important to consider the wireframing as the blueprint for your web page. So we talked about the big three areas that go into a wireframe. We talked about how the stuff that goes into the header section, your navigation bar, your logo, a big head image that identifies your web page. And we've gone a couple of examples, like Bass Pro Shop had, and even the STC has a really cool navigation bar on top, a big header image that lets you know where you're at, and a big logo that distinguishes your site, that site, from any of the other sites. So that's what I want you guys to start imagining and put it to pen and paper. The main content area, of course, that's where the relevant information, that's your meat of what you're going to be proposing. In your proposals, you mentioned a couple of ideas. I had one person say that they want to make a candy shop. So this is where you introduce some of the items that you have in your store, but you don't want to bombard the people with a lot of information. You want to compartmentalize and say, okay, you want soft candy, you want hard candy, you want drinks, you want a particular food stuff, so you can start categorizing and make things um, not so cluttered, but use a couple of big images to distinguish different sections of your web page. And those images or those web pages can be links to your following pages, and they can also be redundant in the navigation bar. All right, so we're going to be using low fidelity wireframes. Like I said, I do not require you guys to use a particular program. We're way too much into the semester to be learning a new IDE, which is a developmental environment. So like I said, if you need be, take pen and paper. At the end, what I want you to submit is, even with your cell phone, take pictures of those images and upload them. Or you are a little bit more fancier, you have your a web draw, and save those into images and just drop into a folder, zip it as well, and then submit it in your submission page along with the list of your web pages. So when we talk about low fidelity, we don't want you to go into very explicit detail, uh, but I do want you guys have a sense of where things are going to be at in your page. So we talked about This is a very good example. We talked about having a header area. We have a place for your logo, a place for your links to go into all those different categories. We had an area here, which is typically a carousel, but it highlights your specials or something of particular interest that people want to be immediately be drawn to. Then you'll have other pictures here that have different links, can also be categories or can also be external links to other pages that are similar to what you're trying to propose. Okay, so this is a second way to create a wireframe. So here, for say let's see if I can increase the size of this. There you go. All right. So see if we can increase the size of this wireframe. This is also hand drawn, and this is also a very, very good description of what we want to propose. So we talk about our home page, which is our landing page. This particular person made it for a mobile app design. Also, you can do that too. Remember how we discussed and we created a web responsive uh, for a web design for a mobile device. So also keep in the back of your mind, this is also very, very doable. I gave you the tools and I gave you some of the techniques in the backend code that'll help you allow you to create your web page in a cell phone version or even a tablet version, but most preferably, of course, in your desktop. It's up to you guys what you want to propose from here. Okay. So mid fidelity, and of course, this is using software. Um, these are a wireframe is a very preliminary version of what we're proposing. Mockup is after you've gone in and done a your coding and you start getting your uh first uh pages to look the way you want to, then that's your mockup. And uh and then you can also proceed into what's called the first prototype, where you have all the coding and then all of the backend links functioning. So here in your mockup, is yes, you have the elements there, but they're not really doing anything like have the external links tied to them or yet. But just right now, you're focusing on how things are being laid out. So on your prototype is where you start having all the links that takes you to different places when the website or even externally, or have different features such as these will that allow you to update some of the information on your device or on your web page. Okay. So we talked about some ideas with Figma, Adobe XD. I'm not sure exactly how many people out there that you guys have worked with these before. Um, Go crazy. And the more, the better. The reason is it helps you become a better developer on and be of course more competitive. But the minimum requirement is a hand drawn wireframe. So I'm gonna put this link on there, and because I think we've gone a little bit overboard on the time on the questions. Um, there we go. This is also another diagram that shows a flow of information when you traverse. You go into a landing page, and when you land into individual pages, and you have separate buttons that do different things. For instance, here you want to send stuff into the shopping cart. Then we're gonna have to implement code here to allow you to proceed and include those carts in your shopping cart, and then of course your checkout. Those are all there. Um, Later on during the semester, we will learn JavaScript and we will focus on a couple of these. But of course, this the mockups that we're doing today will allow me to gauge how much work or what um, or at least integrate some of the code that you will be required to complete your projects and make sure that I apply those into the um, upcoming labs. So once we get to JavaScript, yes, we're going to be doing a little bit of soft core and a hardcore programming on the Java side. Um, so this allows me to cater to make sure that you guys receive the tools that you need to create your shopping cart, or create your blog, or create your store. Okay. So that hopefully that answers the question on that. The Flipgrid, let's see, I went along and I had found some videos. I went along and I found some videos to explain the wireframe. This is going to be very much this is going to be very much like that second Flipgrid that we did. You proposed to me your idea. You pitched it to me. You gave me some, examples of what you wanted to see. That is just awesome. I loved the being able to comment on them and review and point you in some of the right direction. So yes, once again, we want you to explain to me what is it gonna take for you to create your project. You're gonna come up here and then with your wireframe, you're gonna say this is gonna be my home page. This is where I'm gonna have this, this, and this. And then for if you're interested in this particular item, then you click on this link and it will take you to this next wireframe, or this next page, and from here is going to show you the list of items. And then from here we decide to add some stuff into the shopping cart, for um, lack of a better project. So then it will forward you to your checkout stand, and then from the checkout stand, it's gonna ask you where you want to ship it to. And so this is where you input your information. It's gonna have a form with a bunch of fields for you to fill out, and then once you supply your card information and it's hit submit, then your order gets on the way and gets confirmed. So you already see 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 5 different pages that you're going to be doing just for a simple transaction. Now, let's say you have several of the different, like say one person has services, hairstyles. That's absolutely perfect. You can have a sub page with services saying, okay, we do perms, we do haircuts, we do nails, we do eyelashes. And then you have a separate page for each of those services. Why? Because you can compartmentalize and focus on those things, because you're going to have those also on your navigation bar up here. That a person is interested in eyelashes, I want eyelashes, I'm going to click on that. Takes you to the page that's just focused on pure eyelashes. Why you want to see, hair or toenails being done while you were presenting eyelashes, or a person is just looking for eyelashes. That's what you're compartmentalizing all of these different services. So each of those items in the navigation bar, or each of those topics, or each of those categories, I would suggest make your own separate page. And that's what I want you to list. I'm going to have a page for this. I'm going to have a page for that. I'm going to have a page for this as well. And then, of course, then it routes you back. Once I add stuff into the shopping cart, then it takes me through all these steps. Okay. So hopefully I got to answer that question as well. And if um, you're still having issues, and then another thing I can also suggest, if you're very good on PowerPoint versus doing hand drawn stuff, you can create a PowerPoint. And when you do it to Flip, you can share. You can share the PowerPoint, or you share the screen through Flip, or submit your PowerPoint, and I'll view that, and then you just review what's your stuff you wanted to do on the PowerPoint, and I'll take that as a part of your assignment. The third part of your assignment was the list. And I'm pretty sure if y'all have some questions regarding the list, it's a breakdown of pages. Let's see. And the breakdown of pages was within the assignment itself. Okay, so I left you all a sample here. You can very much take this as a the sure template to make sure that you have all your items. So of course it's not perfect and it's not something, it's not, I know it's not for everybody, but the main components are universal. Your main components such as your header, your logo, your navigation bar, no matter what type of web page you have, those are required. For those of you that having the shopping cart, then it falls into a different, slightly different category. But also, doesn't matter also what you type of web pages you're doing. You're still gonna need to present your main content. What is the web page about? So, person that wants to do a blog, you're gonna have to have some type of content within the main section of the body tag section. Next will be the footer. The footer, I would strongly suggest to have the relevant information on the footer, as it would be a part of all the web pages that you, once you traverse through any of all the pages, you have that section that repeats that information, such as well as your navigation bar. Make sure also your navigation bar is held throughout every single page. That way the client can revert and go back and forth into any of the other pages that are made available. And we talked about the shopping cart, so no big deal. So the part 3 will be a list, and this can be also a handwritten paper. Take a picture of it, scan it, upload it. You can do it on a web document, Microsoft Word document. Like I said, using this very much the same template, but customize it with your information. If you're telling me you have a movie, a Blockbuster store, and it has all the movies, and these are all the movies that I have in DVD, and then these are, I'm sorry, then these are the movies I have in DVD, these are movies I have in VHS, and these are movies on Blu-ray, these are movies that I have in 4K. Then I was, or you have by section as well, your comedy, your action, your what's called romance. Uh, you can identify some of the different distinguishments between, or what you want to classify a person that's in, or the latest movies that are coming out. Yeah, so you can already see how categorizing items to make individual web pages is going to be working for years. Okay, so hopefully we got that taken care of for you guys. Don't be shy or afraid to reach out. I try to be as what's called, as lenient as I can, as far as making sure you all can capture and be able to be successful at creating your own very own web pages. So hopefully was able to take care of that for you guys. Um, and we'll leave it up for the weekends. Saturday, yes, this is due Saturday the 21st at midnight. Um, okay, I was say I was gonna add that last part. I'll do that here. Okay, Skill Crush. additional wireframe. Okay, and then I guess I'll stop recording now.